In the 21st century, it's difficult for most Jews to look at Judaism as a proselytizing religion, but the reality is that in the Second Temple period, the Jewish community absorbed a stream of converts. The Second Temple period began in 515 BCE and continued through the destruction of the First Temple in 70 CE by the hands of the Romans. In light of the three failed Jewish rebellions against Rome in the 1st and 2nd century CE, the popularity and accessibility into the Jewish community by non-Jews naturally declined, though attraction to Judaism and Jewish practices continued even among adherents of Christianity in certain quarters. Now, we know the latter to be the case because we have various Christian fathers of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th centuries which write about the interaction between Jews and Christians, much to the concern of the Christian authors generally. Now, the question of what constitutes conversion to Judaism is a topic of great debate. The Talmud itself provides us with the basic requirements for an individual that is converting. If we look at the Bavli, the Babylonian Talmud, and Yevamot 47a and b, we read the following. Our rabbis taught, if at the present time a person desires to become a proselyte, he is to be addressed as follows. Why do you come to be a proselyte? Do you not know that Israel at the present time is persecuted and oppressed, despised, harassed, and overcome by afflictions? If he replies, I know, and yet am unworthy, but still wishes to convert, he is accepted forthwith and is given instruction in some of the minor and some of the major commandments. And he is informed of the punishment for the transgression of the commandments. So he is informed of the reward granted for their fulfillment. He is not, however, to be persuaded or dissuaded too much. If he accepted, he is circumcised forthwith. As soon as he is healed, arrangements are made for his immediate ablution in a mikveh. When he comes up after his ablution, he is deemed to be an Israelite in all respects. In the case of a woman proselyte, women make her sit in the water up to her neck. They, 2 or 3 learned men, stand outside and give her instruction in some of the minor commandments and some of the major ones. Now, this is the classical conversion procedure that was followed in Talmudic times, and many communities continue to adhere to this idea that the prospective convert only needs to understand some basic rudimentary aspects of Jewish faith. Now, in most Orthodox communities, this approach is no longer accepted. The idea is, at least from their perspective, that the convert should fully know what is expected of him or her. And the only way to do that is to live an Orthodox life, with the possible exception of one commandment on Shabbat or something of that nature. But they need to understand the totality of Jewish law, the laws of Kashrut, Hilchot Shabbat, the laws of Shabbat, family purity, the laws of Nidah, and of course prayer and things of that nature. Now, in the conservative and reform movements, as well as in the reconstructionist movements, there are very different understandings of the conversion process. In theory, the conservative movement and the reconstructionist movement continue to adhere to elements of what is stated in the Bavli. Most conservative synagogues adhere to the view that a male convert must be circumcised and undergo tevilah, undergo immersion in a mikveh, and of course a woman must undergo immersion in a mikveh. The Reform and Reconstructionist movements have different approaches. The Reform movement does not accept the binding nature of halakha, the binding nature of Jewish law. So for the most part, most Reform temples and congregations have dispensed with the need for circumcision, although some continue to accept the requirement of tevilah immersion. It all depends on the specific community. And that issue has created a problem. One is because the individuals that are converting do not have equal standing in other movements, although I have seen that in the state of Texas there is some type of reciprocity between individual Reform temples and certain conservative synagogues.